these judge advocates or these staff judge advocates are recommending to the generals to take adverse administrative action in cases where there shouldn't be, or to send charges to trial that shouldn't go to trial. And so it's not just the generals. I think a lot of the blame is on the judge advocates and the staff judge in the SJA, staff judge advocates office and our JAG Corps. And that's really unfortunate because that certainly wasn't the way it was. You know, I don't want to be a dinosaur, but when I was in, this was well over 10 years ago, it was starting to turn that way and I could see it. But the Army I joined certainly wasn't that way. The Army I joined, we were an army at war. And we would make decisions and we would, try to do justice when justice, and if there's someone who committed misconduct, charge them and let them have their day in court and let the jury system work. But what we're seeing, and this is in sexual assault cases, it's guilty until proven innocent. And even if you're proven innocent, there's going to be some action taken against you. We're not seeing that in other types of cases as much, but you see that specifically in these sex assault cases. So that is, I think, the biggest challenge with the military justice system going into 2023, because what happens is if this continues, you start to erode the credibility of the system itself. And then now, the big issue on a macro level is it does not do justice to sexual assault in the military. If you have someone who is a real sexual assault victim in the military, you are now going to be lumped in with the 30 other cases that are garbage. And so you have prosecutors spending a lot of time, money, and resources on these cases that should never be going to trial. They're not spending the time, money, and resources on real victims of sexual assault. And it becomes almost, it's not a joke's the wrong word, but you hear about sexual assault in the military. It's like, yeah, you'll hear it, another 120. 120 is the, Article 120 of the UCMJ. So, just another 120. And it should never get to that point. You're saying, oh, another sexual assault? Because whether it's commanders when they're talking off the record, JAGs when they're talking off the record, defense counsel, everyone will give you the same. If they're willing to have the moral courage to tell you the truth, they'll say the same thing. I've talked to a lot of prosecutors, captains, who are young prosecutors who don't believe in these cases. And another 120, another he said, she said, drunk sex 120, another one. And
so
we get to the
kind of
point
feel like they just
one?
have to go with it just because there's an accusation there, rather than
they do. And talk about being jaded. You're that jaded where you're saying, oh, another rape. If it truly was, you wouldn't say that. These would be pretty heinous crimes, and you'd really want to focus your investigative efforts and your team on prosecuting those, and then let us defend those individuals. And you're going to have a system that works then. And you're going to have the best prosecutors going against the best defense attorneys, and the system will work. But it's not working because you have so many of these garbage cases going forward to trial. And I tell you what, the military is losing a ton of good service members right now because they're getting chaptered or separated out for these, for sex assaults which didn't occur.